Hi you guys, so my name is Camille Peruto. If you didn't already know, I actually auditioned for American Idol a couple years ago and made it to the end of Hollywood Week. And I thought it would be a cool idea to tell you guys a little bit about what it's like to audition, what it's like meeting the celebrity judges and going to Hollywood and everything there. And I did a poll on my Instagram story and a lot of people really wanted to see this video. I only say that because I know that my whole experience happened 3 years ago, but with the new show coming out, I figured I might as well do this now. It's now or never, and I know that for a lot of the people that know me personally, you guys know that I don't really talk about this much, and I get asked about it a whole lot. So I figured making a video would be a really great universal way of just keeping you guys all in the loop and telling you my story once and for all. So without further ado, make sure you guys grab a snack because this might be a little bit long, and let's get into it. So first of all, I watched American Idol growing up for as long as I can remember, and I absolutely loved the show. And as a young girl, I really wanted to audition, but I couldn't because I was too young. And then as I got to the age like 16, 17, and that became more of a possibility, I thought that was when I really was starting to develop my artistry as like a singer-songwriter, and it became less about being like a pop singer than like I wanted to really work on my songwriting and perform. So it kind of skipped my mind for a little bit, and then one day I got an email from an agent that I had been working with, and they said that American Idol was scouting out some musicians and they were really interested and they wanted to see me perform for them. So I went to New York City and I went to an office building. It was a very like formal, it wasn't like glamorous like you would see on TV, you know, it was like this is in a very early stage of the competition. And I went in and I actually saw some people that I knew. And when it came my turn to go in to see the producers, I had an original song prepared, which I'll link down below if you guys are interested, but it's called Sparrow. And it had just come out on my album. It was like my first album that I ever put out, so I was like, this is perfect. This song really, like, it meant a lot to me at the time. So I went in and I sang Sparrow first with my guitar, and the producers all like gave me a round of applause. It was really cool. They said they wanted to buy the album, and that made me think twice because I was like, well, I thought this was really more about singing, but if they're as into like my original music, I really feel like I might have a chance because that was like really what I wanted to focus on. So they gave me the ticket and they said, you know, like work on singing without your guitar because I'd never ever done that before. So I was like, okay, I can do that. And I went home and I was really excited. I wasn't allowed to tell anybody. So the next thing I knew, I was going to be auditioning in front of the executive producers. So the first round was just a round of producers. The second round was with the executives as well. And I forgot to mention that this was a private audition. I did get asked, and this is where it kind of comes into play that I think a lot of the people that make the top 24, or for The Voice, the people that make like the live shows, I think a lot of them are scouted out, but I would never ever tell somebody not to audition just because they don't have a private audition and they have to go to the arena first, because I know a lot of people do get through that way as well, but most people don't know that there are a lot of private auditions, and that's how the producers kind of get to know you early on. So then this next audition took place in a hotel in New York. There were a lot more people, there were cameras, it was a lot busier, and I brought some family members with me. And when I went into that room, the executive producers, it was a lot quieter, like nobody clapped when anybody performed, but one of them I remember said, I really like her. So I was like, oh, maybe I got a shot, you know? And I just remember her saying that, and so they put me through. I guess, I don't know if you have to have one executive like you or if they all have to agree, but they put me through pretty quickly. I sang a couple songs for them. So after I was put through to the next round, which was gonna be the celebrity auditions, I left that room. I went into this big waiting room with all these people, and that's when they brought out the cameras. They started interviewing me. They started asking me to act out scenarios. So, you know, I wasn't really used to that. I never was really much into like the reality TV show portion of it. And I did what they asked because I thought it was kind of all part of the game. And I left that day. I was really excited, and I actually, to prepare for the celebrity auditions, I went and got voice lessons from a girl who had been on a previous season, and I think she made like the top 20. one year, and she was working as a vocal coach in Philadelphia. So I went and met her, and I said, I just need some help learning how to perform without my guitar, and I want to learn how to preserve my voice. And she was really sweet. She gave me a lot of advice, and she said it's a great experience, but you know, like, don't get too caught up in the whole reality TV show portion of it, because it's just as much that as it is a competition. And I came to learn that I really feel like it's more of a reality show than a competition at all, but it's different for everybody. So for the celebrity auditions, this was the last experience that I had in New York City, and I brought a couple family members with me, and we got up at 4 a.m. that day. We went in, got our name tags, I sat down. I was not nervous yet, but then they called me to be in the first batch of people to audition in New York. So it was me and 4 others, and they took a picture of us and they put it on Instagram. And I remember that's how a lot of my friends and family actually found out that I was gonna be on the show. So that was actually really cool that they did that, because I didn't have to hold it in that much anymore. And as soon as I sat down and I knew that I was like next in line or second to next in line to go in to see these celebrity judges, I got really nervous, more nervous than I've ever been. And I don't even remember like what I was thinking. I just know that it was kind of fast-paced. They put us in this little room, so when it was my turn, I go in there. They say that they don't film you in there, that you can get all your nerves out, but they showed all the footage from those rooms on TV. So when I went into the room to audition for Harry Connick Jr., J-Lo, and Adam Lambert was there because Keith Urban unfortunately couldn't be there. I was initially like a little nervous since that Keith wasn't there, because I felt that he had the biggest musical connection with me, being a songwriter, being a guitar player. I felt like the other judges might not be able to relate as much, but lucky enough, Adam Lambert was actually super nice, and I'm skipping forward a little bit, but so when I walked in, I stood on the queue, and it was surreal. That is just the word, like the only word I can honestly think of. It was so surreal. It was dark. It felt like I was being filmed for a TV show. I mean, it was really cool, don't get me wrong. I was so excited to be there, but I think that the nerves combined with how different it was from what I expected. I expected it to be bright and happy and exciting, and you know, when you watch the show, there's music on in the back and people are, you're cutting to and from shots, but this was just me in this dark room in front of these 3 beautiful, ridiculously famous and successful people, and then all of these cameramen and producers and executive producers that are watching you. And I was nervous, and I sang my song, and I thought I did pretty well. Jennifer said that she loved how it twisted into what it became like in the chorus. She liked how it kind of got there, I guess. Adam said he loved my voice, he thought it was sweet. And Harry, I cannot remember for the life of me what Harry said, but I remember him being really, really nice to me. And he was honestly like very nice throughout the whole competition. So I got 3 yeses, and when I went outside, Ryan Seacrest was waiting for me, and I was just in such a state of shock, and I was so excited that when I saw him and not my family, I was like, oh, you're here. Like, I completely forgot that he was gonna be there. And he's like, yeah, you wanna go tell your family you made it through? So he automatically knew I made it through. My family conveniently happened to be in a different room so that when I went in there, it would be a huge deal, you know? So the producers pretty much knew I was going through before the judges ever gave me their yeses. That's one reason that I'm pretty positive that producers make most of the calls. But I went into the big room with all of the people, all the hopefuls, and my family waiting, and the cameras, and it was a very natural response to going through. I ran through the doors, I was just laughing and like hugging my family, and it was a really special moment, and it's something I'll never forget. A couple other contestants that got through, one of them was actually this guy named Sal, who ended up like either winning America's Got Talent or getting second place or something. He got somebody's golden buzzer at like the last season that aired, and that was really cool. But he was actually a really nice guy. And then it was me and him and some other people, and we went and shot all of these videos by the Statue of Liberty, and we got to film tons of interviews. We actually all had to do, once everybody got through and the auditioning was done, however many of us that there were like 50 of us that made it through the first night in New York, and we had to do this crazy like psychological exam where I know a lot of people have to take them, but you do, it's just like it's like 3 hours long. They ask you all of these questions and they repeat a lot of them to see if you're consistent with your answers. They try to pick apart your, like, figure out what your fears are. They want like all the dirty details of like your home life, and they're looking for a story basically. So I actually received a camcorder that day, and only a couple of us got them, and I guess it were the people that they wanted to do stories on, and I ended up not being aired on TV. The only thing that I had aired was my group round, and I think I pretty much know why, but they wanted me to act like I was terrified of flying, like in a plane, which I was scared. I don't particularly like planes, and I know that a lot of people don't, but like now I'm fine with them. And so they wanted me to like vlog a bunch of stuff and then just be like, I'm really nervous like to fly though, like I don't know if I can do it. So I mean, that's where the drama sort of started, like that they want this to be like my story, I guess. I did the best that I could. And what's funny is that when I actually did take the flight to LA for the first time, it was a 6-hour flight, and I was really nervous, and I tried to vlog it, but I was shy and I was actually like scared, and I didn't feel like vlogging at that point. So when we took off, I tried to vlog a little bit, and then once we got into the air, honestly, like I feel like the flight to LA that year cured my fear of flying, because it was such a smooth flight. So it's funny, and it's kind of ironic that that's what they wanted to make my story about. And the other funny thing is that and I don't mean to offend anybody, but I had a very difficult childhood at times growing up, and much darker, and some very bad things happened, and there's no way in the world that I would share that for publicity. And I know that a lot of people go on and they share, people call them sob stories, but they're actually very sad and crazy things that happen to people, and I feel like it's kind of downplayed because it's for American Idol. Personally, I did not feel comfortable really opening up to them about that kind of thing, and I think that that's why I didn't make it that far. So we got to LA, we did a ton of interviews, a lot of filming the first couple days, and we had like a cast party, which was a lot of fun. The first round in American Idol for the Hollywood week, at least in this season, was that we did like the lines of 10. But this year they were doing something different, and they called up like 25 different people who I don't know what exact reason they had for these specific people, but they had all of these contestants. Some of them were great, other ones forgot their words, or they messed up lines. Like it was kind of like whatever. Like you get some really great ones, some people were like just okay. Some of them were the funny kind of comedy people who weren't actually like being taken seriously for singing, but I think a lot of them actually knew that. And I just remember it being absolutely freezing in there, and they don't want you to fall asleep, they don't want you to sleep or rest. So we got in there, it was so cold. The 25 or so people went, and even the people that did a pretty bad job actually got through, which was frustrating for all of us who had to wait, because we thought at least maybe like they would weed out some of the competition. And I sound like a little brutal saying that out loud, I feel like. Yeah, so those people all made it through, and they ended up shooting like their Ford commercials the next day. So I think these were a lot of the people that the producers were like, we might want these guys in like our top 20. And then the next day we were exhausted. I was so tired. There's this thing where when you're that tired and nervous that you just seem to forget words. And I have to say that skipping forward for the group rounds, I don't know if there's anybody who didn't mess up their words or sing something differently than it's written or forget altogether. And they make it seem like certain people do, but really everybody does it, and the cameras can just pick and choose who they want, to shoot. Like there's this one girl who was performing, and she was incredible. She had one bad note, and that's the note that they decided to put on air, which is really unfortunate, and that says a lot about them, I think. For the lines of 10, like I said, I was already exhausted. We were freezing, and I went up. I did not expect this at all. I did Favorite Things from The Sound of Music, and I did like a sort of just like my own kind of version of it that I came up with, and I ended up getting a standing ovation from the entire room, and it was so crazy because I really didn't expect it. I hadn't really talked to many people, and it was really touching, and it was nice because I feel like the contestants were all like extremely like there for each other. We were very supportive of one another, and I liked that about this show. I feel like nobody was really like out just for themselves at that point. So the producers then went up and whispered something to the judges, because I have a feeling that that's when I was supposed to be eliminated, but then when I got a standing ovation, they were like, well, you know, you can't really eliminate her or else people would know that something's up. The same thing happened with somebody else, they told me. And there were some really incredible singers that round that got eliminated, and I'm not sure why. But luckily I did end up going through, which was awesome. And right after I went through, we had to take a lunch break for the judges because they were hungry. So I felt so bad for the rest of the people in line because they had to like wait and they were so ready to go, you know. I just remember being like, oh, like that sucks. So then we went back. We weren't supposed to sleep that night. If you wanted to, you could. But the cameras would follow you, and you know, like you'd get kind of ridiculed, and so we had to pick. We each had to have one person from that initial round of 25 people in our group, but no more than one person from that round. So we picked this one. I think we had one girl, this girl Adana, who was really sweet, and she ended up making it to the top 20 or the top 10 actually, I think. And she just posted a video of her aftermath, so you guys should totally go check her out on YouTube. There was another, we had her, me, and two other girls. One of the other girls was really sweet, and she was like my friend throughout the whole competition. The other one decided that instead of working on our group song, she would go take a shower that night. So then we ended up figuring everything out on our own and having to teach her. And then come the next day when we were all exhausted, we had been up for 48 hours, we couldn't find her. She was faking panic attacks to get on camera, which was really offensive for me because I'll tell you why in a second, but she was pretending to faint when she wasn't really actually this was all fake. She was doing it all for the camera, and she would tell us that. And then it really stressed us out, so that caused problems with the group. Nobody was getting along except for, like, I was kind of the odd man out. They were calling everybody type A, and Ryan Seacrest called me Little B because I just wasn't there for that, you know. I don't like fighting with people. I don't like that it was so hostile, and I loved how it was earlier when everybody was supportive of each other, and now it's the groups, and they really set you up for failure, and they really try to get you, like, while you're exhausted and freezing and really tired, they try to make people fight with each other, and that's what they did. So that's why my group round aired, because everybody was fighting and it was dramatic, so I guess that was cool for them. So then my problem was that I couldn't think of the words, no matter how well I knew the song. We did Want You Back by the Jackson 5. I couldn't think of the words no matter what. I kept trying to go over them in my head for hours and hours and hours, and I just couldn't think of them, and they weren't making sense to me. And then I started feeling really drowsy and really dizzy, and I started panicking. And I felt that I couldn't go to the paramedics, even though I felt like I was gonna pass out for real, and I wasn't faking it, and I was terrified. Just so scared, and if you went to the paramedics, the cameras would follow you, and I didn't want that to happen. And I wasn't, at this point, I was so over it. I didn't want to play this game anymore. I was disappointed in what this turned out to be. While I was grateful for the opportunity, and a lot of it was really cool, and it was cool being on camera at some points, I just didn't like the way that they made you feel, and I know that different people had different experiences, and that's okay. And I did get to do one really cool interview right after my Favorite Things performance, where the producers pulled me backstage and they had me talk, and you know, they were like powdering my face and like having me sit on this like pedestal thing so I look taller, and they were feeding me lines of what to say. So even if that had aired, I wouldn't have been happy because that's not what I truly wanted to say, but it was just, it really was like a reality show. So then when the group round performance was done and we sang, I remember Harry saying that we all had something really special to offer and that we all did a really great job, but only certain people could move on. So I got eliminated as well as another girl, the one that was really friendly with me. And I don't know about her, I was happy to be eliminated at that point. I wasn't feeling it anymore, you know? And I feel like a few things happened that were a little bit unfortunate. Number one, they promised us that we could have private videos of our auditions, our initial auditions, even if they didn't air. And they never sent me mine. They deleted all of their emails, so I couldn't contact them. And I was one of like 4 or 5 people that didn't get our auditions. And they told me that it was because of copyright, but I sang an original song. So I don't really know what to think about that. And I don't know what the other people that didn't get their videos thought, but I didn't think that was really fair. The last thing I want to say about the celebrity auditions is that when I went out, my parents were told to go wait in the large room because they didn't say if I was going to make it or not, but they told them in the middle of my first song that I was singing. I had to sing a couple songs in there, but the producers knew that I was going to go through, so they sent my parents and friends into this big room with all these other people so that it would be like a big reveal before the judges ever said anything. So I do feel that the judges are told what to say, or they're at least told who's saying yes, who's going through, and you can like judge them however you'd like. And then the same happened for the lines of 10 when I sang Favorite Things, and I got a standing ovation, and the producers went over to the judges and, you know, kind of, I guess they were like, we'll like make her, we change our minds, let her go through, because I really feel like I wasn't playing along that much at that point, and I feel like they weren't gonna have me continue until I had the standing ovation. Which was my favorite part of the whole thing. It was really nice having like everybody there for each other, you know? Yeah, so I feel like when all is said and done, it was very enlightening. I don't know that I would do that again. I know that it's very similar with other shows, but I think that if you're lucky and if the producers like you from the very start, that you have a chance. I can't say anything about the voting because I feel that I don't know if votes, like the audience voting or like when America votes, I don't know if that technically counts or not, or if they already have their winner from the beginning. I'm really not sure. I know that that's kind of like a conspiracy that a lot of people think that the voting doesn't even count. But yeah, I thank you guys so much for taking the time to watch this. I know it's a long video, and I don't want to seem bitter at all because I'm grateful, like I said, but I do want to make sure you guys know the truth, and I want to tell my true experience. Yeah, so thank you guys so much for watching. I'll try to link everything down below. This is really hard to talk to the camera, like I never really do this, so hopefully I don't have to edit it too much. But I hope you guys had a nice time watching, and if you have any questions at all, definitely leave them below and I'll answer them for you. All right, bye guys.